Hello, this is Shane Johnston, Director of Jefferson County Schools. We are all experiencing a very difficult time with COVID-19 and the after effects of all of that that's going on, but I wanted to personally reach out to everyone and give you the plan for the reopening of schools for 2020-2021 school year, which is set to begin in late July for teachers. Teachers will come back on July the 28th. The first student day is scheduled for Monday, August the 3rd, and that is scheduled to be a full day. First and foremost, we hope as you're listening to this, everyone is remaining safe and healthy during this difficult time. It is our goal that everyone can return to school in as safe a manner as possible. First of all, let's talk about the academic options that will be available this coming fall. We will be having traditional school setting. It will look different in lots of ways, but students will be physically present on the campus is our plan, and honoring and going with the approved school board calendar that the school board approved back in October for this coming school year. Now, you will also, as families, have an opportunity for a distance learning or a virtual option. We will have registration information that I will talk about in just a few moments, and when you register, you will have the ability to sign up for that, and then there will be follow-up information to come. As we look at that traditional setting at school, it's going to be as close to normal as possible, but there will be some added health and safety measures in place. First, students will receive temperature checks every day upon arrival on campus. Now, this may not be before they actually enter the building. It may be shortly after, but there will be a process at each building. Each building is different with different canopies and awnings and those things to get them in. So we will get students out of the weather, but we will also do that as quickly as possible and as safely as possible. The adults and employees that are associated with our school system are going to be asked to self-check prior to the beginning of each school day as well. The one question we get a lot right now is, are face masks going to be required? Face mask is actually going to be added to the supply list, and I'll talk about those supply lists before we close this conversation, but they're going to be added as an optional material at the family's leisure. We are going to ask and require our cafeteria and food service employees to wear face masks as they prepare food and as they serve food. Other employees may be wearing masks, but they are going to be encouraged or optional but not required at this time. Of course, as health department and government gives us new guidance on that, that could change between now and the start of school. Specifically, distance learners, I want to make sure that you, as students and families, are aware that the academic rigor is going to remain the same as it would be if you were on campus. There's a strong commitment from us and also the state to actually have students engaged each and every day. And in order for those to count as present days, students being counted present at school, even though distance learning, we are going to make physical contact with students on a regular basis, including, and our goal is daily. Of course, that looks different depending on what grade strand you're in. In early elementary grades, you have the same teacher for all subjects. In high school, you have multiple teachers, each for different subjects as well. There will also be the opportunity in some cases for families that may feel more comfortable doing a virtual option, but at the same time your child may be in a class that just requires them to come one period a day to the high school. An example would be a student that's enrolled in welding. It's going to be hard for us to simulate what you would get in welding at home, so it would be that we would work with those families to let you do your distance learning in those other 3 classes a day, and then perhaps come on campus the days necessary to do on-site training and actually do those skills perform. That's just one example. We're going to have to weed through all of that as we go forward. So again, in closing of that part, we're going to have traditional school in person, and also you'll have an ability to sign up for distance learning. Some additional health and safety measures will be also in place. Buses will be sanitized after morning routes, after evening routes. We have an updated information on custodial, the frequency of some of the things that we used to do and how often that's going to be done. And then those trainings will be going on in the next 3 or 4 weeks as well in preparation for school to make sure our custodians, our bus drivers, and all those that are associated. We also are asking our own employees to clean and sanitize their own areas, and we will be dealing with all of those protocols as we continue to develop our plans. One thing that we would like to talk about too is a change in operations. We appreciate everyone's flexibility and understanding that this is just different. To start school initially, there will not be visitors allowed on campus without an appointment. This would include normally, and certainly at elementary, oftentimes parents want to come and eat with their child and those things, but we just can't afford that extra risk of exposure and different things of coming into the building initially. We will modify that as guidance is either heightened or loosened up a little bit, but initially just know if you need to come see a teacher or the office staff, we're going to do everything we can do to accommodate that, but it will be by appointment, and we'll again continue to get more information to you in the coming a week, certainly before school begins. An additional measure at each school would look different, but there will be changes in protocol on how you check a student in if you've started the day at the doctor or didn't feel well or just simply were tardy to school. But we're going to try to limit folks having to come all the way into a building and sign people in and sign them out, and we'll be working on those, and that may look a little different at each building. I know lots of our families are dependent on transportation of riding our school buses, and we are certainly happy to provide that service. In doing some research on this, a 90-passenger bus, if we were to fully socially distance, could only hold approximately 18 students. We do not have the buses or the bus drivers or the financial means to be able to run multiple buses to and from many of these destinations. So we will continue to adjust our routes just like we do each year, but we cannot guarantee that social or physical distancing can occur on a bus. With that, we would encourage each family to bring your child to school if possible. If you cannot do that, we will do our best to keep them as separated or as distanced as we can. One simple measure may be if there's multiple children from the same family, we would ask those children to sit on the same seat. When possible, we would try to put a seat between others as well. But we did talk about a moment ago that temperature checks would take place once on campus. We do not, again, have the ability or the means to really take a temperature check before everybody even gets on a bus. There are also some safety issues with that. If we took a temperature of a child before they got on the bus, and let's just say a third grade child and an eighth grade child are both standing there and the third grade child has a temperature, we're not sure that a family's still at home for that child to turn around and walk back and go in the house, and it could be that that child is not in a safe situation. So again, we can't guarantee that any place on our campus is going to be virus free, but we're going to work and do our best to make it as safe and as healthy as possible. So again, we're planning on transportation for our students, but we just can't guarantee that social distancing will occur. As we continue in this process, I want to let families know we currently feel like we have enough one-to-one devices for 3rd through 12th grade. We are having to, we'll begin the year having to use some that normally we would have cycled out, but we have also, through relief money from the federal government, we have purchased an additional near 1,000 laptop computers and 1,000 iPads, and that will enable us to be one-to-one initially to 1st grade through 12th grade. However, everyone in America is ordering those type devices, so those will not be available right at August 3rd, but we certainly hope to get those in as quickly as we can. We have to physically touch every one of them, do some things to them, and then get them issued to students. So it very well could be 2 or 3 weeks into school. Now, with that said, we also want you as parents to know this. We will have to do some training of parents, and we're prepared to do that, and we're going to work on a system somehow in August that we can get parents in and students in so that you can provide some assistance to your students if they are distance learning. And really, it would be good training for all the parents because every child will have access to a computer. We had planned to move away from 6th through 8th grade being one-to-one and take them home. We were going to do that on site. And just where they didn't take them home each day, but each teacher had a set, and students did have access one-to-one. That is something that's also being talked about, how we're going to do that as well as we go forward. But again, we're going to have weekly updates now as we approach between now and the start of school, and we certainly want you to check our social media sites. Our friends in the local media outlets as well will help us relay information, and we will get that to you. So just know that we are going to try to come alongside. We are aware that many of you perhaps don't have good internet access at home. We will work to make campuses a little more Wi-Fi friendly to where we can boost that signal during evening hours to where you could drive your child to your child's school, and in the parking lot, again, they could download, upload, and do some things that they need to do in that. Just like we said earlier, the expectations on those virtual learners is going to be high as well, so there will be same expectations as far as assignments. The assignments may look a little different if you're physically present or virtual, but at the same time, of the same rigor, of the same quality, and then again, you would turn those in. Those will be graded. Teachers will provide feedback. And we are working out how we're going to best approach those virtual. Will there be a dedicated virtual teacher, or will the classroom teacher that you're assigned to be also helping provide virtual instruction, and also the ones that are physically present? So we'll continue to work in conjunction with the expectations of the Tennessee Department of Education, along with our local health department, and we will always lean on our officials in the medical field to give us guidance in many of these cases. There will be a written plan that's got more details than I'm able to talk about right now. That's going to come out towards the end of the week. It is our goal before the end of the work week. We can release that to our local media outlets, and then over the weekend, get it posted on our social media sites. I do want to talk about for just a moment middle school and high school athletics. Many of you have heard that TSSAA has issued a statement that specifically at the high school level, girls soccer and football will not be able to start there on a regular schedule. That's because their official practice day begins before and during this extended executive order from the governor. I'm sure that elected officials and the governor will be talking about this in conjunction with TSSAA. We're currently in the dead period. We are going to allow our conditioning workouts to continue starting Monday, July the 6th, and then we will get guidance and get updated information to you just as quickly as possible. One final reminder, registration is set to begin online. We want, even if you're a returning student, July 6th through the 19th to log on. It's on our website, and we need you to simply just log into that. It's real simple if you're returning, but we will also have an updated form there should you choose the virtual learning option. School supply lists are going to be sent out at the end of this week. Please pay attention. We've worked hard to try to reduce the amount of money that's required for those, but we're going to get those released as well. During this time, we would just thank you for all your support and patience, but please be flexible as new information changes frequently. Thank you for all you do. We've established an email address that you can send any of your questions to. It's reopening@jcboe.net. Please feel free to reach out to us, and one of our administrative teams will get back with you with an appropriate answer as quickly as possible. Thank you. Stay safe, stay healthy, and have a great day.